Hello everybody. In this screencast I just want to implement an app that will actually read these contacts, display them on a list, and then I want to demonstrate to you also another feature in Firebase, which is listening to updates. So what if I want to listen to updates to the data such that when the data changes on the server, I want to get notified so that I can reflect that change in the app. So we'll look at it in a little bit, but let's change this so that we can have a list here. And in that list, we're going to display the name and maybe the cell number for each user, right? So that's straightforward. We can easily do this. I'll just go and to the layout of the main fragment and add. We need to add a list view. Let's do that. Here's the list view. I'm gonna add the list view to this. And 1 and 2 and 3. Maybe we get this one to 0. Need the list view. Okay. 1, 2, and I want this to be to the top. Okay. Maybe we give it a little bit of a margin. Here we are. And then this guy is, let's make the width, here it is. Okay. And same story with the height. And we're good to go. So that's my list view. We've got it list view. Here we are. Okay. And let's say I'm just going to display the name so that I can do this quickly without building an adapter and so on. Okay, so we are here. I'll get the list view and we go from there. So basically on create view, I'll have the list view. List view. Okay, here we are, the list view. I'm going to get the list view here, equals view, dot find view by ID. R.id dot list view. All right, here's my list view. Need to create an adapter. So let's say I will create a class. I'll call it user. Okay. Let's go back here and the class I call it user. And in that user, I will have two variables: a string variable called name, string variable for cell, right? And I'll have a constructor with both of them, and also I will create an empty constructor. We'll know why in a little bit, but let's create a constructor that has an empty constructor. Okay, cool. So we are here. Okay, so we have the user, and now I just need to create an adapter. So we'll do the array adapter of type user. Okay, and here's the adapter. Adapter equals new array adapter. And basically the adapter needs what? It needs, what does the adapter need? So new array adapter. Okay, here it is. It's command P. Command P, it needs the context and then the layout and the objects. So basically I'll pick, let's say this one. So it needs the context, so I'll say get activity. And then it needs the r.layout. I'll use Android dot r dot layout dot simple list item 1, right? That's what I'm going to use. And then maybe I'll put, let me double click here. And then I'll do Android also, Android dot r dot id dot text 1, right? And I'm going to pass it the list of users. So I need an array list of users. Of user, I'll call it users, right? Equals new array list. Okay, that's the array list of users. That's what I'm going to pass on here, and we're good to go, right? So that becomes the adapter. I'll say list view dot set adapter to adapter, right? So that's, I set the adapter to this now. Okay. So now I'm going to call get data, and basically get data goes in and gets, this is what we did before, right? Okay, so I'll remove that stuff here. So basically this is all what we did when we are setting data. I will keep set data for the time being, right? I'm not going to call it though, right? Get data, and what does get data do? Get data goes in, and we did this as an example, so let me remove one of them. So here it is, it's basically going in, and I'll use the other example because it is a little bit easier. It's not a task and so on. It brings in the on success, it gets you the query snapshot, and here is the query snapshot. And now basically I just need to create these users and populate them. So basically when I come back here, I'll say users dot so I need to go in and create a user out of each one of these documents, right? So basically what I could do is I could say users dot add, okay, new user, right? And I did create a constructor that gets what? Gets the name and the cell. So basically I could do that. I could say document dot get string, and it's called name. That's the first field. And document dot get string, and it's called cell. So I could do that, right? So basically what I'm doing is I'm just creating users, adding it to the list, right? Adding it to the list as we go, right? Here is, I just added it to the users list. And then when I'm done with the for loop, I could just say adapter dot notify data has changed, right? I don't need to print anything here, but that's basically what is going on, right? So basically let me keep it so that you could see these values being printed, right? And then that's gonna update the list. So when I run it, I think this is going to work. So here it is, get data, and here's the list of users. It's not working very well. There is a problem with yeah, okay, because you are passing a user object, we want to print the name, so we have to implement the toString, right? So we have to implement the toString because of the adapter situation, right? So the adapter now is expecting to call the toString on each one of these users, and that's why I'm just going to return the name, right? Okay, so run this again, and you'll see the names of the people. Here are the names, right? They are all the names of the people that are here, and they're coming in the order they are stored, right? So basically here is test user and so on, right? Okay, so now I could change one of them. Let me change this guy's name, right? I add a couple of maybe X's here, click update, and it doesn't show up here. Why? Because the data has changed, and I am just getting the data. Basically this is just getting the data once, right? What if I want to monitor this data such that if there is any changes in the data, I want to know, right? So to do that, it's a little bit different than just getting the data. You want to monitor. So basically to do that, you do the same thing. db dot collection, you specify the collection you want to monitor, right? And then instead of dot get, right, basically all what you do, you can filter further by writing a query which Firebase supports, but I'm not going to do the query. I want all of them. And you say add snapshot listener. See, this is not add on success. You say add snapshot listener, right? And it returns what? It returns an event listener that will give you a query, right? So I'll pick this one, new event listener, and it gets you a query. So basically what is going to happen is that it's going to return an event, actually a query snapshot, which is very similar to what this guy is returning, right? So what I could do is I could just copy this guy from here, put it here, right? And instead of this, it's going to be the value. Here it is, exactly the same code. See, this one is going to return a query snapshot. This one is also returning a query snapshot. They call it value, but it's fine. This is the same story. So now I can remove this code now. I don't need it. Right? Here it is. And basically I'm telling it to, I'm registering a listener, right? And that listener, actually when you register the listener, it executes the first time. So that doesn't have to change. First time you get all the data, right? Okay, without any changes. And then after that, whenever something changes, you will get all the data also. So run it again, see? Data, it looks exactly the same. There is no changes, right? It's exactly the same, right? But now notice something. Let me move this to the side here. I'll go and change, I'll add another user. Let's say I'm going to add another user, auto ID, give this person a name. Let's say this is the new user, right? And give this person also a cell phone number, and let's say 00000 some number, right? And I click on save. And then what's happening? You see that it keeps on adding. There are a lot of repetition. Why? Because every time the data changes, this function gets called, and what we are doing is that we are adding stuff to the list, right? But that list already had some previous ones, so maybe we need to go to the users and then remove or remove all before we repopulate the list, right? So basically, or clear, it's called clear. The method is called clear. So just clear everything from it and then repopulate it, right? So now when we run this, here are the list of users. You see the user we just added. It's called new user at the end, right? See, now notice what's going to happen when I change this new user. I'll call it the old user now, right? See, when I click on update, you see the change here. Why? Because now you register a listener. If you change anything in the data, this will trigger this event, and this event, what we're doing is we're repopulating the user array again. So now what happens also is that if we go in and delete, let's say I'm going to delete this old user, I go here, I deleted the document, click here, and you see it got deleted from here too. Why? Because by deleting it, you are triggering that event that the data has changed, and that event comes in carrying all the data, right? All the data pointed to by the contacts. So anything under contacts is going to come in. Here it is, and we are adding it to the user, right? It's very, very simple and very easy to use, right? Okay. Another thing you could do is we did get the user by doing this, right? By creating the adapter and then going into the document and reading the fields of the document like this. What we could also do is do it like this. So basically what we did is we created a user equal, and that's the user that we created, right? Here it is. This is what we populated the document into a user, right? And then we added the user to the list, right? That's one way of doing it. The other way we could use this. I'll show you this. Let's see. So what we could do is we could get this document. Oh, sorry. You could say document dot to, and then you can change it to an object. You can take that object and change it to an object. So basically I could change it to the user.class. What's going to happen is that this becomes my user. So user equals, I can do it like this, but to do this it has to match the same names. The variable names have to match. So, and in our case it's the case. You see the variable name and cell are exactly the same names as name and cell that we have here, right? So basically that also should function the same way. See, let me go back here, show you this here, run it, and it crashed for some reason. Let's see why. And if we look at this, it says that no properties to serialize. So probably we have to get, you have to create the setters and getters. Let's do that. Setters and getters for all of them. Here we are, and then you run it again, and here we are. So it works. So you just need to have the setters and getters, and here we are. Right? See. And it did work, and you could see I am able. This is very similar to the JSON library, right? You can do it like this also, but this one gives you more feasibility because you can have lists of things and so on. But anyhow, you could see that you can read the data in a different way. What I wanted to show you is that this is a very important feature, which is triggering a listener, having a listener. Like for example, you see there is a user called test user. For example, I can update this user and call this one Alice Smith, right? And click on update, and now there is Alice Smith. Can go to the last user, and I remove these X's, and I click submit, and you can see the X's are removed. Very simple, very straightforward, and very useful feature for Firebase databases. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.